Myself Chetan Sonar and I welcome you to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to discuss about the higher order components. So why we need the higher order components, what is the advantages of that in real world scenarios where we really need the higher order components. That we are going to discuss the things. And also we are going to see a live example on that. And at the end we are also going to see what are the limitations of the higher order components. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So, friends, now I'm in my computer screen and I've opened the Visual Studio Code. For the development purpose, I've created a demo project to showcase the higher order component. So what I'll do over here, I'll just remove this unnecessary code, which I don't want now. Okay. And let's say we just want to create a counter related project where we are just clicking on a button and we'll just increment the counter. So what I'll do, I'll just create a component over here, counter component dot js. I'll say const counter component equals to I'll just return the JSX code from here. I'll say export default counter component and here I'll just return the JSX code. Let's try it and do and the button click me and what I'll do I'll just write an h2 where just we'll just show the counter. What I'll do now I will import I'll use the use state hook. So if you're not aware about the use state hook, you can check out my other video. I'll put the link in the description for the use state related hook. So what I'll do, I'll use the counter, set counter, and then use state, default value 0 or initial value, okay? And this counter will go over here. And I'll just on click of this button, I'll say arrow function, set counter, counter plus 1. Okay, now let's just check out this and just put this into the app component. I'll say counter component. Okay, now just check. Okay, yeah, it's working fine. Now we'll write a higher order component which will have the state related logic. Okay, so I'll say with counter dot js, that will be our higher order component name, HOC. And here I'll say const with counter equals to, now we'll just run a function which is going to return the JSX code. So we'll take the input parameter as old component and just return a function. Okay, here I'll return the JSX code. Okay. And now just export it, export default with counter. Now we'll use this with counter into the counter component. We'll just wrap the old component, the counter component. So this counter component will go as a parameter to this higher order component, HOC, the with counter, and we are just rendering that as it is. Okay, we are not passing any props over here. So now just check our what it is saying, with counter is not defined. Okay, just go into the counter component and import with counter from with counter purchase. Okay, now error is gone and our application is working fine. Okay, now we'll I'll show you one thing, that if I just add parameter from here, let's say name with, or maybe anything like Chetan. Okay, and if I just add it over here, that name should be like this. I need to take props. Okay, props dot name. Then it will not show over here. Okay, why? Because we have used the HOC over here, and we have wrapped this component into the HOC, and HOC is not passing the props. So if you just remove it over from here, and now if you check, it is showing the name. So how we will pass the props as it is? So in the HOC, we'll take the props and we'll pass it as it is. Destructuring, sorry, spread operator. Okay, now if you see, it is showing the name. Okay, so now what we'll do, we'll just copy this logic, state related logic, from main component to the higher order component, because that will be maybe useful in many components. So we'll just copy from there, and I'll just paste it over here. And okay, so what I will do now, I'll just override its props, or maybe props I'll keep as it is. I'll say counter value equals to counter, and increment counter equals to arrow function set count equals to counter plus one. Okay, now if you'll just check what we have done, we have just passed the props as it is, and we have added two more props, two more attributes over here, that counter value and increment counter. Now we'll go to the counter component again. Okay, it will give an error that that counter is not defined. So what we need to do here, props dot increment counter and props dot counter value. Use state is not defined. Okay, so here we need to import use state. Import use state from React. Okay, now if you just refresh, see, our component is working fine and our name is also shown. So that's how we can use the higher order components. There may be a chance that, okay, now this is what we have seen. And now if we talk about the disadvantage of limit or limitations about it. So maybe if I'll just, what I'll do, I'll just try to add a counter value from here. This maybe I'm saying initial value. Okay, I'm saying counter value is 5. So this will not get lost. This will be get overridden by the HOC. So this is a drawback, or we can say limitations of HOC, where we can, this is a props collision, we can say, where we are actually, what the props are passed in the component, those are getting overridden if we just pass the same name to the props. So this is an issue with the HOC. How we can avoid this? We can avoid this by using the maybe use hooks in the functional components. If you're using the functional component, then you can use the hook or maybe render props. This kind of other things can be useful for the to avoid this kind of issues.
So if you have liked my video, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Thank you.